loungeradio.co. You're now listening to Lounge Radio.
Hi guys, and welcome back for episode 3 of StainedGlass Sessions. Unfortunately, Nomfundo is not here today, so but I have another guest. His name is Calvin, and he'll be joining us for today's topic because I do feel like today's topic kind of needs a manly touch. You know, it needs a man's opinion. So without wasting any further time, let's get down to it.
loungeradio.co.
Today's topic is actually it's thought-provoking, and it was something that I thought about the other day while I was sitting and I had a conversation with another guy, and you know, he kind of made me realize something that was very important, something that we often do not consider or look at when it comes to, I think, whether relationships or outside of relationships, just our male friends or whatever. And the question, or it's not really a question, but rather it's I don't want to say it's a quote, but it's kind of like a statement. And the statement goes like this: and one day, when we're ready for the truth, we'll sit and talk about the mental and emotional abuse that we as women inflict on our partners, all in the name of Indonda Must, or Indoda Must. Meaning, this is what a man must be, this is what a man is to do, this is what a man is supposed to be. And I think it takes us down to a path where we even talk about GPV in a sense. We often talk about GPV as if it's only a physical thing. You know, we often forget the other parts of it, but then again, you can abuse somebody emotionally and mentally. And Kelvin, I want your input on this now. How do you feel, and what do you think, or what are some of the biggest issues that you think men face in terms of abuse? Because I think for you guys, abuse is it's not always like a woman beating you. Sometimes it is, but it's not always like that. Your abuse is actually hidden and nobody ever asks you guys, are you okay? Are you doing well? Because while you guys are supposed to be strong and you guys are men, you're expected to show a strong front all the time. And what is the reason that makes you guys like that? Why do you never feel comfortable talking about abuse? Coming from your partners especially, why is it not a normal thing for you guys to talk about that?
Abuse is a serious topic, and for us men, we've been taught to suppress a lot of things. We don't really talk much about our partners and what they put us through. It's something that has been instilled by society, and we're expected to be this strong figure, and that on its own has just led to a lot of suicides from men.
Suicide rate is pretty high, I'm not gonna lie. Suicide rate is pretty high. Check the stats, y'all. Check the stats. Suicide rate is pretty high, especially for men. Hey, it's quite shocking.
But honestly, Jessica, coming from me, and this is my take on society and how I've seen, and it could be how I view the world through my eyes and what I've observed through time. See, a lot of us as men, or as young men, as we grow up, we're expected to act a certain way by society. And that on its own, it kind of limits us and of how we express ourselves as human beings, because we're all human beings in this world, and we all go through similar stuff.
Yeah, right.
But some of the things that we go through as men are overlooked. For example, abuse from your partner, it's overlooked. And when we chill as guys, we always say, women are crazy, women are like that. We don't really pay much attention to it because that's how we've been taught, you know. And that on its own has serious implications especially on the mind as well. And most of us, Mina personally, I do get abused a lot. I do get abused a lot, but I don't really take it as abuse. I don't see it as abuse, but if the same thing that was being done to a woman, then it would be a serious thing, because it's how we're taught. You just look at it like,
But in what sense? What do you mean when you say when it comes to you don't view it as abuse? Like, in what sense? Give us an example, because I don't think I understand you. I don't think I follow.
In a way, we always thought, I always think, siyadlala, we just put it under there. Siyadlala, it's nothing serious. It's nothing serious. Some of the things that are really serious, when Mabas ends agiti, we just like, man, especially coming from a woman, we just like, man, we don't even see a guy overreact or anything. It's just like,
so you guys take abuse too lightly in such a way, and that's what you're saying to me. Mostly this is actually abusive behavior. Because imagine this: you in a relationship with this girl, and maybe you don't hit her, she doesn't hit you, but she's constantly telling you are worthless, you cannot do this for me, you cannot do that, and constantly comparing you to other people, and constantly saying those things. You know what I mean? I feel like it is quite deep, and we normally do not realize it, because as women, I think we are very strong with our words. We are very, very strong with our words, and more often than not, we do not pay attention to what we are saying. Literally while we are in the middle of a fight, you'd be like, yeah, Vele, you worthless. This is why you can't do this. This is why you can't do that. And I think those things are quite detrimental. But my whole issue stands at, why do you as guys never have those conversations? Because I think it's important conversation that you guys should be having with each other. And also, yes, it's important to speak to your partner and be like, you know what? I don't like the way you talk to me. I don't like the way you handle this and that and that. But why is it not a conversation for you guys? What is stopping guys from actually talking to each other and recognizing behavior of abuse, instead of thinking, she's just playing, or as in she's just speaking because she's angry? Why not speak about it and be like, hey bruh, but this is a form of behavior, like a form of behavior that is abusive. It's not just or she's just acting crazy now. Nah, this is abusive shit.
Okay, when it comes to us guys, there's not enough awareness about us guys and abuse. It's always about women. And even if we try to talk such amongst guys, you're always seen as the weak guy, as the weaker person to talk about this. Because we guys who have a sense of pride, every guy has that, and we don't want to appear as weak in front of our homies, ukuthi wena umfazi wakho abuse ntwana, stuff like that. But most of us, we do go through that, and we don't really recognize these signs as abuse until we see it happen to a woman. No, man, this is being abusive and stuff. But when it comes to us, it's just like, man, uzoba right. Talk.
Uzoba right.
Because that's what you guys do.
No.
Like, if we could sit down here and then try and argue, you'll win the argument, because you guys are gifted with a tongue. Tina, we're not. Like, gifted with a tongue. And
so you think that we win conversations, or that abusive behavior normally comes from us always winning conversations because we can actually speak and you guys can't?
Yeah, we can't speak, Tina, guys. We can't speak.
But you can. I don't know. I feel like I've met guys that talk like a nigga will take you from 0 to 100 within seconds because he can talk his shit. So I'm like, I don't know. That's why I don't understand, because I've met guys that talk like a nigga will talk, and you guys are telling me that you guys cannot talk. What do you mean you cannot talk? Is it because it's a serious situation that you cannot talk, or like, what does that mean?
We're not really open about them. We just release, and then just like that, we're not gonna raise it again and stuff. But the problem arises from awareness as machita and as a society, because a lot of us sikhula with that mindset over Indoda and stuff like. There's so many sayings,
and that is so toxic. Oh my gosh, that is one of the most toxic things ever. Indoda I hate that with everything that is in me, because I feel like it is such a toxic thing. What's Indoda Kali, Indoda Indoda and my emotions. And it actually goes as far as ruining you guys in terms of my relationships as well, because you have this thing you would see, you always have to be strong. You never want assistance from a woman in any form because you are the man. You have to stand strong. You must be the one that's in the front. You must be the provider. And that's some toxic ass shit right there. It's very, very toxic. But why don't you guys, I don't know, I'm feeling like as you grow older, sorry to interrupt you, but as you guys grow older, why is it Uguti Axiona Indo that you guys talk about? Obviously, maybe your fathers being a little bit more old style than you guys, they believe Uguti Indoda as colonialism is. But you guys are the upcoming generation. You guys are the next fathers. Within a few years, you guys are going to be having kids. And how are you going to raise your own kids to be if namanje seni na little freedom and understand and agents? But these are things that we must address. Why are we not addressing these issues, especially in your age group as you are? Because obviously your fathers couldn't do that.
Yeah, I think with this generation here too, a lot of things are going to change. Because now lentally awareness abuse from guys as well. It's been it's looming, and we're starting to take it serious. And back then, a lot of women were being abused, but no one gave a shit.
Yeah, no one gave a shit. Yeah,
no one gave a shit.
No filter on this one.
It was just normal, like, yo, bonu banasha umfazaka ngempama lapha.
And it was a normal thing.
Yeah, but recently, izinto ziyashintsha, yabo. Gradually, we're trying to change izinto. And with us guys, with time, I hopefully with time, so sizofika to a point where now we are much more aware with this thing and we know how to handle it. And it's very essential as guys, sometimes we should have these talks.
Definitely.
As guys, because we do. There's a lot of things that happen to guys and we don't really take them seriously, because of the saying Indoda Must and stuff like that. But I really hope with time sizofika lapho where we a generation
where you are able to speak,
and everyone is able to express themselves as they feel, not how society depicts and stuff.
But with that being said, you said something right now that just caught my attention. You said you guys are still in that whole thing. You guys still have that thing amongst yourselves as young as you are. You guys don't have it yet to break out of that shell. Do you guys then blame women when they can't have these expectations of you? Can you really blame them? Because we say that as women, we can be abusive towards you guys, but at the end of the day, think about it. If you are gonna act nonchalant about everything and you're gonna act as if nothing bothers you, nothing bugs you, and you're this strong person, this strong character, can you really blame a woman when she's gonna come through, you guys get into a fight and she's really angry, and then she's like, yeah, really, Calvin, you are worthless, you can't do this, look at you can't look at what other men your age are doing. Do you know what I mean? Can you really now then blame women for doing that? Because you guys are constantly here with that whole thing, you can handle it. I'm talking about it now because I think I'm more aware. Because I know men have the same feelings that we have. It's just that they don't talk about it. But can you really blame those other women who come through and they're like, men can handle this pain, men are built for this pain? Because that's what we're told. You guys are built for the pain. You guys can handle emotional pain. Doesn't even affect you guys one bit.
As I've said, Guti, it's more of the parenting style from the previous generation. Everything that's happening now, we can actually blame the previous generation of how they did things, and then
our parents,
we can say with our Abazalbetu, they didn't play that role enough, and they didn't guide us enough, because most of the things, we're just learning on our own, first-hand experience, Because a lot of things, I've never had those conversations with my father, and I'm sure most guys never had those serious conversations about these with their father. It's always...
Is it hard to talk to your fathers, or do your fathers just not want to talk, or are you guys just not able to get through to your fathers? Because I've never really understood this whole relationship that a lot of black men have with their fathers, and I've always wondered, because as black girls, most of us are quite close with our moms, especially girls in our generation, you know. I think our mothers went close with their moms, but we are quite close with our mothers. So what is it with you guys? What is the distance? Like, is it your father's not wanting to talk, or is it just you guys being scared to talk to your fathers?
It's all about the mentality, how he was raised, you know.
Okay.
He's just passing on the thing that he was taught. He's just passing it on. And then some guys, they only grew up with their mama, babu,
right. There was no father figure in the house.
And then he got that abuse from his mom, and then that also affects him some type of way.
And that is something we never talk about. Childhood traumas is something we never talk about, actually, but that's a topic for another day. But yeah, no, I actually agree with you on that. I actually didn't think of that. The whole thing of not being raised by a father, where you are literally raised only by your mother. Yeah. And I think I don't know what that is like, and I can't even talk on what that's like, because I don't think I've actually ever had a conversation with a guy who said, I was raised by my mother alone, and what his experiences were in terms of what is the difference between being raised in a home where your father is present as a man and being raised in a home where your father is absent in a home. I don't know, maybe you could comment on that. But like, what is the difference, and like, how different is it, especially when your mother genuinely tries to raise you as best as she can with the best values that she could possibly give you?
Okay, mina ngikhuliswe babami.
Okay.
Like, yeah, even now, uhlala nabasiblings wami. So like, it was difficult to get through to that man. It was difficult because he is a man. After all, he is a man. And ukhuluma naye nje about certain things. There's a lot of things that I couldn't talk to him nazo, and there's a lot of things that he
because you wouldn't understand, or
I feel like there's a disconnect between me and him. You know, I was close with my mother, and then unfortunately she passed on, so that on its own, I had no one to talk to. Even if I felt some type of way, I couldn't. Even now, I still get calls from Obudbam. That's why I'm always there for my little bros, because now, but they feel that disconnect with, you know, they're not really free, because if you're not free, then you cannot say what's in your heart. Right. Because you always have to choose your words, how you talk to this person. Yabo. And another thing is society. We need to like remove the lento, your blame and pointing fingers. I think we should start looking at this abuse thing from a human perspective. Not the Indoda, Imfazi. No. That I believe it's really wrong, because it causes a lot of conflict. And then let's say a group of feminists, and then they say and it always happens. I've seen it on Twitter. You know, when a man makes a mistake or he does something that affects another woman, they'll be there. They'll be trolling him. They'll be saying a lot of things.
Men are trash. Men are this.
Yeah, even this thing, hashtag men are trash, I don't think it's okay.
But that is a cry for help. Remember, men are trash as a movement on its own. I think the words, or that phrase, men are trash, I don't really think it's more to kind of make you guys feel like, yeah, really, you guys are nothing, you guys are worthless. Definitely not. I think it's more of a cry for help, Kuri. Men are trash. But it's just not like what you were saying, barely no one can ninja. You know what I mean?
But couldn't you guys come up with a better thingy cry for help? Because Lena is definitely not doing it. Because it's society every time. You know, whenever hashtag men are trash, you know. But that's why I'm saying, Guti, we should just look at this abuse thing from a human perspective. Not Guti, women are the only ones, are the only victims in this thing. Because some of these guys, Labantu Laba, are feminist lab, they are abusing their partners. And they don't talk about that, you know, because abuse, it happens in a lot of ways.
No, that is true. That is true.
Some guys, they do get raped, and they never talk about it because it's a woman. What are you gonna say? You know, and it's not taken seriously.
And when you go report it, really, what would you gonna say? Mama, did you rape me?
Yeah, like touching me without my consent. I'm just saying. Touching
Why does this feel a bit personal now?
No, I'm just saying, like, touching me without my consent. You see? And then...
Oh, really?
But if I touch you without your consent, it becomes a huge issue, you know?
But it depends on how you touch me, you know what I mean? Like, if you touching my shoulder, I mean, that ain't a problem. But if you out here grabbing my ass, grabbing my boobs, obviously that's like, nigga, what are you doing?
But always remember, this is my space. Now you're entering my space, man. It must so bam, you're entering my space.
I hear you.
Yeah,
no,
definitely. A lot of guys do experience that, but no one seems to care about that, you know?
I get you. And I think, guys, let's get to a point where you guys are able to speak to each other about this kind of things, man. Because I think earlier this year, I had a friend of mine come over, and you know, when he came here to talk about problems that he was having in his relationship, you know. And I remember with this guy, when me and my girl sit and we were like, but why are you talking to us about this and not your guys? I said, because Amachida are not gonna understand. If I go to Amachida and I tell them, agents, I'm having an issue, you know, me and my girl are going through this, she's doing this, you know, her behavior is toxic. Don't be out here whining about one girl, you know, as if she's the only girl in the world. And he was like, it's easier to talk to you guys because you guys actually understand and you guys gave me advice on that. I mean, look, I'm talking about the same issue. I tried to talk about this issue with best friend and he didn't understand. Instead, he was just like, so these things happen, man. Like, do you want to leave her or whatever? But with you guys, it's a different thing because instead of telling me, hey, leave the girl, you guys were more on the advice side. And I'm like, I think guys should normalize that. I think you as gents need to normalize those kind of conversations because you don't want to have these conversations with each other. I don't know if it's a thing of you're scared of feeling weak or it's, I don't know what it is, but it's something that you guys need to start talking about because it does kind of contribute to that because out here abusing this girl. Sometimes it's a thing of you abuse this girl because of the fact that she's abusing you, you know. And I'm not saying that's how all GPV cases are. Do not misunderstand me. I'm just saying sometimes it does happen because I'm going to come and I'm going to provoke you as a guy. You know, I'm going to be like, yeah, so. Eventually now you're going to get irritated, you know. And because like you said, you guys are not able to speak the way we do. So it leads to a point where your next instinct, now you're a human being, you've got emotions, sometimes they implode, you know. Your next instinct is to basically throw a punch or slap this woman in front of you. Next thing I'm at the police station on this guy hit me, he's abusing me and whatever. But nobody ever gets to focus on how did we get here, my sister? You know, I'm not saying that they should be questioned, but I'm just saying, sometimes that is a need. You know what I mean? But you hit me after I hit you, after you literally came at me, you were in my face. I tried to leave the room because personally I'm guilty of this, where I got into an argument with a guy and he tried to leave the room to go get some space and cool off. And I literally and I'm like, Awinda, I'm talking to you. You're not gonna leave me while I'm still talking to you. Do not walk away from me, you know? And I think in that moment, I did not realize, this guy is walking out because he might do something that could potentially hurt me. So instead of staying here and listening to me say all of this nonsense to him or listen to me busy yelling at him, he'd rather walk out, cool down, and then come back and try to talk to me once I'm also calm. Because in that moment, only Lord knows what's going on in his mind because he's quiet. I'm the one that's busy talking. So I'm personally admitting this because I think it's something that I'm guilty of. And I think, ladies, all of us in some way, we're guilty of this. I think we've all done this where we literally spoke to a guy and he kept quiet. And as soon as he tried to walk away, you're like, hey, Baba, do not walk away from me. I'm still talking to you. And that's another thing that kind of puts certain women or other women in that position whereby you literally go off on him and he does not know how to respond to you because he just doesn't know how to talk the way you do. And the next thing, this guy throws a punch at you, and which is wrong. You know, personally, I believe there's never a reason to put your hands on somebody, but it do be like that sometimes. And I think it takes us down to where I'm like, you guys as gents need to come together and have these conversations a bit more, normalize these conversations. Yes, it's not going to happen overnight, but it's something that I think you guys need to normalize, because it will help you guys in terms of solving your issues as well. And I mean, your sons, guys, what kind of kids are you guys going to be raising if you're not going to have these conversations?
These conversations, it depends who you hang out with. Everyone has a group of friends or a friend that they can trust with everything.
Right.
And I do have that. And then you can't tell anybody about this, because you have to be really careful who to tell about. Because you can tell someone and then Indoda man, have a beer, suppose there's a lot of fish in the sea, Pumagui and stuff like that. Not really dealing with the problem though
itself, right?
Then it's hard. You just sweep it under the rug and then Pumagui.
And that builds up. It builds up as time goes by if you keep doing that.
Builds up to a point where you just explode and then boom, and turn around so pansy. You don't know what happened, and then
it leads to gravity. That's when the law comes in.
The law comes in. It's like, bro, how did you do?
What did you do?
Yeah.
And then now you gotta go to court. We talk about these things, and it's like you didn't even mean to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this also comes down to women saying that they are tired of raising angry men, or they're tired of, I don't want to say raising, because I don't really like to use the term raising when it comes to our partners, but you are kind of living with a man who's angry, a man who cannot talk, a man who cannot communicate, because he wasn't taught that. But I think you guys right now, you guys are not married as of yet. You guys are quite still young. As we speak, we're very, very young. And you guys have the opportunity, and try and rectify these things. Even if it's a general conversation, instead of discussing things like, I don't know, what you guys normally discuss when you're alone, but discussing things that are not building you guys. Maybe these conversations should be snuck in every now and then, here and there, where you guys build each other in terms of, no, bruh, you do not act that way, you do not talk that way. If there's an issue, communicate. It's funny because I say communication, and I've heard a lot of girls where they say, in Kinga with Amachita, when we say let's communicate, you'll think, we talk too much. You'll think we talk too much, eh? And it's funny because the fact that we talk too much is actually what makes us so comfortable with discussing issues. It is though. It is. Do not give me that look. Because it genuinely is. We are that comfortable with to the point whereby it's easy to address an issue. When you will walk out of here, instead of talking to me about an issue, you will walk out of here, go for a drive, have a beer, and then come back and sleep. But that's not the productive way of doing it, because you're not dealing with the problem. You are dealing with the fact that you were mad at me because I said something you didn't like and you left. Instead of being like, okay, Yazin, let me leave, take a drive, and I'm going to come back, cooled, all nice and settled. Then you talk to me and you're like, okay, babe, what is the issue? How did we get here? What are we fighting about? Instead, you guys believe in just coming back and sleeping and sweeping under the night. The next morning, we pretend as if nothing happened. And that's not dealing with the issue. Especially from guys, and I can testify this, because y'all don't like to talk. Y'all really don't like it.
Even now, I don't want to talk. But honestly, Jessica, this thing, firstly, whenever you get into a relationship with a person, I think we need to know how to talk to our partners. Because in Kenya, you say a lot of things, and you might say, okay, I'm correcting Calvin for this certain mistake, right. But it's always the tone in how you say things, because it's not always about the words, Instead of screaming, why not talk to me like a regular adult? Because I don't think everyone appreciate every time they have to address something. Even me now, I don't appreciate it, especially men. We don't appreciate that. If you really wanna talk to me and address something, it would really be good if because it doesn't make sense to me because screaming doesn't make your point valid. You're just loud, and you being loud, and then you end up saying other things.
Exactly. No, that is so true.
So with us guys, we guys we do have our own battles, and if you are lucky, you'll get umuntu who are comfortable around you, and it all depends who as untombazana, a guy that will be able to open up, and if he doesn't open up, just give him time, because listen to this card, to be comfortable. You don't just wake up and then you trusting somebody and then boom, keep a listen to no. You need to takes time. And no muntu ojola naye or in a relationship naye melum understand ukuthi umuntu onjani, And another thing, Tina, when we just jump into relationships, there's a lot of things and yeah, when it comes to that, we just ignore a lot of things, and then we just boom, you're in a relationship with a stranger, and then you love a stranger, and you love a stranger, relationship with a stranger, then boom, we are mangas a few months down the line. Why is he acting this way? Instead of actually
because
taking
you didn't get time to know this guy, you just jumped into a relationship with him.
Because you guys look at the first impression and stuff like that, so guy comes in with his confidence, boom, sweeps your feet away, and then this is the one, this is definitely
this is him, he's my guy, this one. Gonna marry this guy, see a soulmate in him and shit.
And after a few months, Calvin changed. He's no longer that smiling guy, he's this beast man, he's always fuming. I couldn't say Calvin, And when it comes to Amajita having these talks, we do have these talks. It's just that it's not about this the abuse. It's kulumanga expectations from society. Even now, it's a bit difficult because I'm expected to provide. Whilst now with my own, it doesn't make sense, but yeah.
You kind of expected to take care of somebody's daughter financially, but you yourself are trying to take care of yourself also.
So, we need to address them, both genders. We need to talk about them, both genders, because
I love that though. I love that. The whole thing of let's address it in terms of both genders and not just on one side. That's why I think I chose today's topic, because I really felt like we are forever talking about women being abused, but we never really talk about men being abused. And I think I've had so many guys talk to me about how they felt abused, or they felt like their partner is abusive, even though maybe she's never physically touched you, she's never pushed you, she's never punched you, she's never hate you whatsoever, but in the way that she speaks. And I think we are guilty of this as women a lot, because we scream a lot, guys. Sometimes we think life is a Talapere production, and we're here screaming our lungs out, busy throwing things, throwing glasses and throwing plates, and that's not the right way to speak. But I think we try to work on it. I think a lot of us do. Personally, on a personal level, I'm definitely trying to work on it. I think the way I talk and the way I address issues is one of the things I'm trying to work on, Instead of coming at you already here, volume on 100, I come at you in the most calm way possible. But sometimes we do come at you guys in the very calm way, hey? Si pansy. And then your answers, your responses, Calvin, they trigger that anger. Because sometimes I feel like as a machita, you have this nonchalance thing about you. I'm gonna come and I'm gonna address something that's bothering me, and you're gonna act so nonchalant about it, and you're gonna act like, hey, it's so trivial. And you make me feel like Lento and Kulumanga is trivial. And I think that's where, in some cases, the fighting starts. Because I come to you, I speak to you as calmly as I can be. I'm like, Calvin, 1, 2, 3, and 4 is bothering me. You act like it's nothing. I'm just overreacting. It's so small. It's so trivial. Then that's when I'm like, but Calvin. And then you still don't hear me. And then now that's when I think, because now you're just getting angry. Now all of these things are just coming. Now you just go off like fireworks.
Yeah, totally.
So I think it's a thing to work on both sides. Guys too, listen more to your lady.
Yeah, ukulalela haikuthi gela control. Yeah, y'all can be possessive sometimes.
What? Yeah, what do you mean you can be possessive sometimes?
I've seen a lot of guys being possessed by their girlfriends,
Are they though? Are they? Because
I'm saying, relationship. We're both strangers and we both had our own lives.
Right.
So, relationship, suddenly, you have to stop doing some of the things. Of which, yeah, it does make sense. Some of
It
it you have
does.
to.
Because you can't keep doing the same things in a relationship that you did outside of a relationship. There's a lot that you gotta
Does make
stop.
sense. Does make sense.
If
But
you played FIFA 24/7, you must cut down on FIFA.
But now it doesn't make sense to control it, you know. I don't think that's really proper.
But men do they do that though?
I'm not sure. I've never been.
You
in
guys
such a
say,
situation.
"Kuri, are we love?" You know, you guys use phrases like "are we love?" It's like "aibo." Wait now, or why not tell me properly? Kuri, no, Yazin, I don't like you going places. Why are we love?
I think Guti comes within Lento Guti. Women don't understand, you know. Mamtela kahle nje ukuthi baby ngicela ungayi lapho. She's just gonna look at you. If she goes, because
Ladies, izinto enzenzayo. Yes, izinto enzenzayo. Bese bantshela ukuthi anilapho. Because you don't listen when they tell you nicely.
because you know, sometimes it's more like I'm watching out for you. Ngiyakutshela ukuthi yo, you know, that group of friends of yours, man, I could write for, you know, just check them and then I'm 30 serious, and then they disappoint you come back to me crying, yo,
And it's funny because our friends tell us that guys like that are a red flag. Guys that are going to tell you, I'm not good friends. They're like, this nigga, why is he keeping around my circle?
Like, so now, I've taken a different approach.
What is a different approach? What is a different approach?
You know, I'm just gonna let you be yourself, you know, because when you're in a relationship, it's where you're supposed to be comfortable and be yourself, the way you're supposed to be.
Right.
You have to put on that mask, maybe that empty face, but you're supposed to be yourself. Like,
and you're supposed to let your guard down.
You're supposed
That's
to
another thing with you guys. You always want to have your guard up even when you are alone with your woman. And it's like, but when you hear this is a safe space, obviously it takes time to get there. I think for both men and women, it takes time to get to that point. I think for women it's a bit easier because we're just used to speaking. But I think for you guys it's a little bit harder, especially when it comes to letting your guard down emotionally. But you guys do be hard on us a lot, especially when it comes to the emotional part, and then it starts to feel like you guys don't care. And I think that's why a lot of women often think that men don't care even when they do, or feel like this nigga don't love you enough. But it's just, you guys never give us that. You don't make it easy for us. And it's like, the harder you make it for me, the more I feel like, hey, Chuti, you don't love me like that.
Yeah. That's another thing. But Mina,
But
honestly, yeah, it does take some time to be open.
Definitely.
You don't just wake up and be open with no strange.
Right.
But yeah, I've noticed with the women are mostly open about their problems, but not guys.
Yeah.
We're not really open. I think it takes us a really long time. Even to our friends as guys, we are not really open. We're not really open. There's some things that we're meeting. I'll keep you going, man. You know, you just keep up.
So even to your friends, you guys don't really talk about everything.
We don't talk about everything.
I feel you,
you know, because meeting, how much to kabangan? Because meeting, we guys were always thinking from a different meeting. As you said, we always have our guard up, so we're very careful of what we say to who and how, you know. So that's another thing. Estina machita. But apart from that, we just wanna feel loved, man. Yes, that's machita. I don't think we get that enough.
No.
You know, if Uchita is getting love from Muntuake, then that's great. Like
That's great.
genuine love, not what you. Because I know.
Yes, ladies.
I know, because
Show this genuine love.
just genuine love.
The same love that you expect your man to give, reciprocate, you know? I think that's my whole thing. Reciprocation is very important. The same way that he makes plans, you also should make plans. The same way he makes time to see you, I think you should also initiate seeing him sometimes. I think it's all about effort. It's all about reciprocation and communication, man. Communication. Nothing beats communication, and I know it takes a minute to adjust, especially for you guys. I'm learning to understand that about Amachita, but at the same time, it should not be an excuse. So communicate to your partner, because nothing is going to build a stronger bond than communication. But yeah, that's it on our topic today. I don't know if you wanted to add anything else. Anything else you'd like to add before we close off? Anything? Speak, my guy. See, right here, you can speak your mind.
No.
Speak a saying.
No. Peace much.
But yeah, there you have it, guys, for today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for the support and the love that we've been getting, guys, on this podcast. It's beautiful. Like, I love it. Please do keep on listening week after week. I really got mega love for you guys, and thank you so much for your support. Please do not forget to like this video and subscribe. Please subscribe and turn on notifications so that anytime we post up, you guys are updated. But yeah, until next time, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Mwah.
LoungeRadio.co